Hello everyone, my name is Rod Olson and I am the general manager of YYC Growers, and I'm a farmer with Leaf and Lyre Urban Farms. Started that company in 2010. And what I'd love to share with you today is something I love doing, which is pickling. And I know we're loving on garlic right now. And so one of the things that I love to do is do pickled garlic scapes. So I've got a jar of it right here. So this is what it looks like. They were starting to flower out, so they even got a little bit of a bud in there. So I was excited to try that. For me, pickling is always a bit experimental, and so don't let anything kind of get in your way. Always give it a try. I have labels, and so you can see Leaf and Lyre is kind of the brand on which that happens. I'm just going to give you a few tips about pickling. Number one is that you want to have fresh produce. Working with YYC Growers is a great way to do that because we typically will have stuff harvested 2 or 3 days before we get it to our customers. Barring that, if you have to go find garlic scapes, you're not really sure how long they've been going around, then the next best thing is to get a bag of ice or get a bunch of ice, and you put your garlic scapes into a bucket of water with a lot of ice. You want to bring the temperature way down, and that just helps with getting a nice crisp pickle at the end of the process. Once those are cooling, then what you want to be doing is getting your canner set up and ready. So right here we've got good old canner, but you would fill that up. It's always the first step that I do, depending on where I'm doing this, because it takes a long time for the water to boil. And what you need this is to do the steam water bath afterwards, so that you get a nice seal on the jar, so that there's no bacteria or pathogens that can get in past the seal. So your water is cooking, boiling along. Then the next step that you want to take is actually creating your solution. And the only trick that I'm going to tell you about it is that it's not as heavy laden with vinegar. When I pickle things, I actually want to taste the vegetable. I'm a farmer. This is what I do. I want to taste those vegetables. I don't want to just taste like a ton of vinegar or a ton of spices even. I want to taste the vegetable. So it's a solution with water, vinegar, and salt. So that once you get that kind of boiled up, everything's kind of taken together. The real labor of love is actually stuffing the jars. And so with pickles, like cucumbers as well, or cauliflower, peppers, a lot of things do really well in pickles. I actually learned that people pickle sunchokes, and I've got a lot of them. So you're gonna see some Leaf and Lyre sunchokes coming up soon. But with the garlic scape, they grow in a curved kind of pattern. And so you just kind of work with that and shove them into the jar, and I like to shove them as tight as you can. This is also something for new canners. You think, oh, I don't want to push too hard on it, but like pickles especially, if you can tell it was a new canner because they float to the top, and so there's a lot of just brine at the bottom. So you really want to stuff them well. Then some of the other equipment that you need is the wire rack, and so that goes into the water canning, and it's got the handles. You can pull those out. Always remember to have a towel when you bring them out of the water, because you don't want the cool wherever you're setting them down to kind of shock the hot jars, and you can sometimes run into a crack that way. I usually just use wet mitts that are rubberized to grab the hot edges. You can also use these fancy tools that are made for that purpose as well. But I think my final tip, the thing that I think just makes life so great, is this magnetized piece. Because what you want to do with each of your snap lids, you have to boil those ahead of time. And when you come along with this tool, you just dip into the boiling water, or just previously boiling water. You pull those out and you get them on top. One final tip is that always rub the top of your jar with a wet paper towel, so that you clean anything that might get in the way of creating that solid seal. So I've given you a lot of information there. You can make some of your own sometime.